Montessori education. Thank you, Sita. Do I have to click OK on that? So we'll be discussing the similarities between EYFS and Montessori education, and we'll be discussing how you can blend both approaches in your classroom to create a more enriching environment for your children. My name is Shiog Moore. I am a mother of four, a nurse by background, and the owner of a Montessori nursery, Little Land Montessori Nursery, here in Dubai for the last 30 years. I also hold a degree in early years education, which I completed in 2015. And my passion completely lies in nurturing children's self-esteem through educating teachers and parents on how they can better interact with children to foster their development. I'm also the proud co-founding partner of Teachwise Vocational Institute, but the real inspiration behind Teachwise and someone who is truly passionate about children and everything Montessori is Sita Sagar. Sita is an advocate for children's education and well-being, and she has completely played the key role in bringing this vision of Teachwise to life. Sita, I'd like to hand over to you now to tell us more about yourself and to kickstart today's workshop.
Thank you, Shiog, for your kind words. Warm welcome, ladies, and thank you for taking the time to join us today. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to share a bit about myself. So my journey in early years education started 28 years ago as an intern. Gosh, I feel so old when I say that. So over the years, I've grown from being a teacher assistant to a lead teacher and later a Montessori trainer and examiner for Montessori Centre International London. I'm also proud to be the founder of Montessori Art School in Mumbai. Now, this classroom experience has been my greatest teacher, and the experiences I have gained have shaped my approach to education. Now, it's all thanks to these experiences and this knowledge, I'm able to guide my learners with practical insights and help them to navigate all the challenges they may face in the classroom. So today, as we begin our workshop, I look forward to sharing what I have learned over the years and of course, learning from all of you as well. And if you are ready, let us get started. Now, before we get started, I'd want all teachers who are working in an EYFS classroom to kindly unmute and make some noise. This is your chance. Make some noise, ladies.
Hello. Yes.
Hello.
Yes, we're working in a perfect example for your course today. I know some colleagues of mine because we are in EYFS setting that blends Montessori into our EYFS, literally what the course is all about. So I'm very interested because I'm EYFS trained. We had a little bit of Montessori training, but I'll be honest with you, because I am educated in EYFS, I'm just more comfortable to practice this in my classroom, even though I've got Montessori resources available. So yes, I just feel like my skill set need to adapt a little bit, with my comfort teaching Montessori with, blended EYFS approach.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. And with this, we're going to kickstart the course for today, the workshop for today. Now, I know that some teachers feel that Montessori can seem rigid and that there's often a sense of, with my experience, I realized there's a sense of Team EYFS versus Team Montessori. But as you mentioned, that the practical experience of blending in the Montessori and the EYFS creates a nurturing or an ideal, I'd say, environment for our children. So with my experience in setting up nurseries and training educators, I found what truly works best is an amalgamation of the two approaches. And the beauty is when we understand how they blend together And what role do we play, or how can we facilitate this? And also for us to see what are the similarities between these approach or the two approaches. So today we're going to explore how we can combine the best of both worlds to create a balanced, child-centered environment that works beautifully in practice. So today's objectives, ladies, we are going to glance through some of the similarities between Montessori and EYFS. Now, why are we going to do this? Because let's clear our base, have some clarity what is defined or what is EYFS and what is Montessori. And this is going to be just a brief because we just have an hour and there is so much that we need to look into. Then we're going to explore how Montessori materials can support the EYFS goals and the learning, the areas of learning. What we're also going to look at some tips or some practical examples to highlight this alignment between the two approaches. So with that, of course, we're not going to take away, we recognize that there are many other aspects to both approaches, such as observations, planning, strategies, and their underlying philosophy. But for today's session, we will focus on understanding these two aspects. So first, let's get some understanding. We all have done, some of us have done our EYFS, some Montessori. So let's just provide some clarity onto what is EYFS. The EYFS, or the early years foundation stage, is a comprehensive workshop that sets the standards for the education, development, and care of children aged birth to 5 in UK. Now, this framework provides clear guidelines. Okay, it provides guidelines on what children should be learning and achieving at each stage of their development. So it's a comprehensive guide for educators. Now let's look at this for educators. As educators, it's a guide to support us on how we are going to nurture children's growth in a structured and meaningful way. So that is our EYFS. And a quick discussion on Montessori pedagogy. So Montessori pedagogy, developed by Dr. Maria Montessori in early 20th century, is an educational approach. So the Montessori pedagogy is based on 2 pillars. One is the Montessori philosophy and the other is the Montessori method. Now the philosophy runs through the classroom. It's built on the idea that children learn best when they have the freedom to explore and choose their activities within a prepared environment. And what about the Montessori method? So the Montessori method includes your Montessori equipment, the tools, the teacher-made materials, and all those resources that we are going to use to, I will not say teach, but prepare the environment with these resources so the child will explore and understand abstract concepts in a concrete, hands-on manner. So these materials or tools are introduced step by step in a sequential manner. They will start from simple to complex. And we are going to move from concrete to abstract. But today, our discussion is how we can blend or amalgamate these two approaches together. So let's begin by identifying where these approaches overlap and how they complement each other. A quick glance, both EYFS and Montessori frameworks are built on fundamental principle: every child is unique, constantly learning, and capable of being resilient, capable, confident, and self-assured. positive relationships. Both EYFS and Montessori framework talk about children learn to be strong and independent through positive relationships with peers and adults. And this is where the focus is on us as educators. Again, the emphasis are on enabling environment where children thrive in environment that are rich in learning opportunities and are responsive to their individual needs. Also, another aspect that is common is children develop and learn in different ways and at different rates, with all areas of learning and development being interconnected. So this diagram, if we take a look from the EYFS perspective, we will say that the unique child, the role of an adult, and an enabling environment is going to support the learning and development of young children. Now, the same diagram, if I have to interpret it as a Montessorian, a Montessori classroom is an interplay between the child, teacher, and environment to support the child's learning and development. So both the frameworks aim to create a secure and nurturing environment, promote holistic development, encourage active learning, support individual needs, foster positive relationships, facilitate progress and school readiness, engage parents and carers. So that's our baseline. We're going to build on this. So the similarities are many. But what we are going to now explore and focus more on is how Montessori materials or certain aspects of the Montessori philosophy will support the EYFS goals and areas of learning. Now we're going to look at it practically, because as I understand is that's where the challenge is. What is Montessori? Oh, because we are a Montessori classroom, this is EYFS. We cannot bring in EYFS. Or because we are an EYFS setting, how are we going to bring in the Montessori elements, or how will we bring in the Montessori tools, resources, principles, is what we're going to look at it practically now. So again, a quick glance. So your EYFS, you have your goals. The EYFS learning goals, you may say, are like the final destination. They tell us what children should achieve as they grow and learn within the 7 areas of learning and development within the EYFS framework. And all of you are aware of the prime areas. You've got personal, social, and emotional development. You've got communication and language, physical and development, and then you have literacy, mathematics, understanding of the world, expressive art. So these are your 7 areas of learning. So what are we going to do today is we are going to explore how EYFS goals within the 7 areas of learning and development are supported by the Montessori method and philosophy. So if we take a look at this slide, you've got 7 areas of development and early learning goals. They act as the skeleton of a child's overall development. They're going to provide a structure and support. And they are also guiding teachers by offering clarity on the key developmental domains. So as an educator, as an EYFS educator, I have clarity on what are the 7 domains I'm going to look into. And the early learning goals provides me with a map as to what are the activities or what are the criteria, what are that the children should be learning within the age criteria or the age bracket? What is it that the children should be learning? So as an educator, I'm going to take a look at the area. I'm going to take a look at the early goal, and I'm going to prepare an activity to support the child in achieving these learning goals. However, the Montessori, the philosophy and the pedagogy adds the heart and the lungs to this framework, offering practical activities and methods that bring the 7 areas of development and early learning goals to life. So as educators, the Montessori philosophy and method is providing us with the tools and resources we need to achieve these goals in a meaningful, hands-on way, ensuring that children develop holistically while engaging deeply with their learning. So EYFS tells us what children need to learn, and Montessori shows us how to help them learn in a hands-on, child-centered way. And together, they create a complete and balanced approach to helping children grow and thrive. So today we're going to look at how are we going to achieve these goals using the Montessori method and the philosophy wherever applicable. So we are first going to look at the physical development, one of the prime areas. Now, in the prime area of physical development, we are going to focus on the fine motor skills and the gross motor skills. So as an EYFS educator, we are going to use the learning goals to guide us with the activities that we're going to provide the children. And of course, as all educators, you know, for us, we have a lot of resources now on the internet. There are a lot of resources that we can gather from the internet. Now, let's look at how Montessori will bring this to life. So one of the key curriculums of Montessori is your activities of everyday living. So this curriculum will support the child in achieving will support them in working on daily tasks like pouring, cleaning, dressing, which will naturally help the child develop and refine their physical movements. So I'm going to show you a quick video, and then we'll talk about how we can bring this into an EYFS setting. So what you see here is a shelf, activities of everyday living shelf. Each activity is placed in an orderly manner on the shelf. Every activity here is going to support the child in achieving a skill related to real life experiences that they are going to need to become independent. All the activities here will have an indirect objective, and one of the key indirect objectives is going to be refinement of their pincer grip, their hand-eye coordination. Also, when we talk about activities of everyday living, and it's going to support the child with developing their fine motor skills, let's talk about the gross motor skills. Now, gross motor skills, you know, in addition to outdoor play and equipment, Montessori offers a unique activity, which is called walking on the line. Now, this activity teaches children balance, coordination by showing them how to walk heel to toe along the line. So I have a video that I've got from YouTube, and I'm just going to share this video with you all. How are we going to bring it into the classroom for your EYFS setting? Anyone would like to share what they do, how they bring in activities of everyday living into their EYFS?
Yeah, so we keep some sorting or with tongs, they can pick out seeds and place it in from one cup to the other, or like how the walking on the line, or you can keep small hoops and they have to jump through hoops. So things like that. Even put a jacket in the class in the shelf, which they need to zip and unzip. Things like that.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Absolutely, ladies. I don't see where the challenge is to bring in activities of everyday living into an EYFS setting. We need a shelf, and we need to organize all these activities that the child would need to develop their life skills and place them on the shelf in an orderly manner. Each activity will be complete and placed on a share or on a tray with a control of error. Of course, when this is just, we're going to, I'd say, just rush through all this. There's so many details, and when I start talking, I will not stop. So I have to, keep myself in control of what I talk. So we finish this in an hour. What we did, ladies, also, I'd like to share, what we did is that we came up with assessment book. We came up with an assessment book where we picked up all the goals from the EYFS learning goals, and we mapped it with activities or with the resources and the equipment or the Montessori method had to offer. I am just going to share with you, as we cover one domain, I will share what we have prepared, and that would give you some clarity as to how we can map how we can map Montessori activities with the EYFS goals. Okay. So here, the EYFS goal states that to develop manipulation and control, a child should be able to explore different materials and tools. So under that, we have all these activities of everyday living that will support the child in achieving the EYFS goals and also support the Montessori philosophy of fostering independence. And this is aligned with the Montessori curriculum. So you have pouring activities, you have pouring, dry pouring, wet pouring, pouring through a funnel, transferring with hand, transferring with spoon, transferring with tweezers. So if you take a look at all these activities, they are supporting the child to develop their fine motor skills. Also, one of the EYFS goals is to know and talk about the different factors that support overall health, well-being, and self-care. Now, this goal is achieved using the Montessori materials You have your dressing frames. This will support the child in not only fostering independence, but also in taking care of self. And when you talk about health and well-being, you will have hand washing, brushing teeth, combing hair, putting on shoes, threading, toileting independently. So this is how you can map the EYFS goals, learning goals, and align them with the Montessori curriculums. Now, also, your EYFS goal is to develop skills to manage the day school successfully. Now, for them to be able to manage their day school successfully, they need to have, of course, there are a lot of other skills and domains that will work together to achieve this, but using your activities of everyday living, or even in the EYFS setting, we will encourage them to cut with scissors, cutting vegetables, fruits, squeezing oranges, lemon. And these are all these activities, taking care of their environment. We have, you can have hole punching. Now, that's all. I'm going to talk about grace and courtesy in our next domain. And also, sorry, before I move on, for walking on the line, EYFS classrooms can also have a line, whether you can draw it, or at times, like I remember my previous classroom, it wasn't practical for us to draw a oval shape, but we had a rectangle. So we used the red tape to have a big rectangle, and we encouraged children to walk. As we have our other workshops, we will take these elements individually and discuss each one of them. So you will have clarity on how this is presented to the children. We don't teach the children, we present, we demonstrate. That's going to be for our next session. Communication and language. In this prime area of communication and language, there is a lot of overlap between EYFS and Montessori. How are we going to define that to create a language-rich environment is for EYFS, or is it a Montessori approach? Because both the approaches focus on creating a language-rich environment where children will develop their speaking and listening skills. However, if we bring in the Montessori philosophy here, okay, so the Montessori philosophy offers children the freedom to socialize, freedom to express themselves, and speak openly. But if I'm going to say this is only the Montessori philosophy or the Montessori pedagogy, but EYFS is also aligned on the same principles. So this domain we cannot identify and say that, okay, this is Montessori or this is EYFS. And also effective communication by the teacher. How is she communicating with the children? Is she offering opportunities to the child to express? But the thing what here I would like to touch upon is grace and courtesy. In a Montessori setting, we provide lessons to the children on grace and courtesy, to use special words like please, thank you. How are they going to greet themselves? How are they going to request for support? How are they going to offer help? So this can be a part of your communication and language. And the same activity will also be a part of personal, social, and emotional development. So when we talk about personal, social, and emotional development, your practical life skills. Your practical life skills are going to support the children to not only take care of themselves, but also support and be active members of their classroom community. Then you have your cultural activities. These are your knowledge and understanding of the world activities that are going to support the children in learning about different cultures, respecting differences. And this again is aligned. This will overlap with your EYFS. You have freedom to develop positive friendships, relationships, self-confidence through independence and freedom of choice. I have a lovely video here to show. Now it's time for us to share our recording book. What we're going to look at is now the Montessori method, the Montessori activities, and we are going to map them and link them with the EYFS goals. So we spoke about grace and courtesy. Grace and courtesy, I would say, will be, it's encouraging or it's developing the child's language along with providing them the tools to work as a community, to offer help. So we have presentations, we have demonstrations. The teacher, maybe it can be during circle time or it can be a small group activity through role play. But this is also a part of our observations and a checklist that we keep for the children. And as you can see, we have control and coordination, which is progress towards a more fluent style of moving, with developing control and grace is an EYFS goal, and we're achieving it with walking on the line, balance beam, and silence game, which we will talk about not today. Now, after this, we are going to talk about the literacy. So, universally, the sequence in which we teach literacy to the child is constant. We will first start with the letter sounds. Then we will move on to blending. And then we will move on with the sight word. We'll introduce the sight words. And then gradually we will introduce them with the level 1, level 2, level 3 books. So what I want us to do is that first we are going to now take a look at our EYFS goals. And then I will show you some videos and we'll tick what we are achieving using the Montessori tools. Now, we all achieve this even in the EYFS classroom. We may have flashcards, we may have Play-Doh, we will have, it's a play-based teaching, discovery-based teaching. So we will come up with resources made by the teachers. But let's quickly take a look at what Montessori has to offer here. So with Montessori, let's take a look at the goal first. The EYFS goal is preparing hands for writing. For this, we have insets for design. That's another, that's one of the Montessori materials which are introduced along with sandpaper letters. The sandpaper letters, we are going to use this, encourage the child to trace. We are going to encourage the child to learn the letter sounds and to trace and learn the written direction in a concrete manner. Then we will have large movable alphabets. So recognize, recall, sound individual letters phonetically, blend 2 or 3 sounds and say the word together is where the child is going to use this piece of material. Then we have the EYFS goal, which is blending sounds and forming 3 CVC words, preparing for reading, is where we will have the pink series. After the pink series, we will have blending to read CVC words and enrich reading vocabulary. We will have pink box 3, 4. You will have the mystery box to prepare children to read silently. You will have, they'll practice reading with their reading list. They will learn sight words, reading a string of words to understand meaning of a phrase, and practice fluency is where we'll introduce the phrase strips, and then we will introduce capitals, and then we will introduce sentence strips. So what you're seeing now, these are all the resources which are Montessori tools to support the child to learn these abstract concepts in a concrete way. I'm just going to show you some videos of children working with these materials, and then we will have a discussion. What you see here is a child using the sandpaper letter. Now, this unique material offers the child an opportunity to learn the letter sounds. So that is also one of your EYFS criteria. You can use a flashcard, or you could bring in a sandpaper letter. Demonstrate and present how we trace and have, usually in a Montessori demonstration, we have 3-period lessons where we will teach the child the letter sound in isolation. However, this girl, being an explorer, she picked up a pencil, and instead of tracing the sandpaper letter with her fingers, she wanted to bring in a pencil and trace it with the pencil. Now we are talking about preparing a child's hand for writing, because that is also one of your EYFS goals. So this piece of material is the inset for design. These insets are placed in the classroom. The children have the freedom to choose these shapes and trace around them. As a Montessori directress, or even in an EYFS classroom, you can present and show the child. There are times we don't even have to present, because children, being explorers, will figure out what has to be done. Here, what you see is the pink series. The child it's your pink box 1, which is objects and word cards. So here the child is reading one word in isolation and matching it with the objects within their environment. There are times I've seen that children are reading. They can read, but they cannot associate that word with the object within their environment. So the child is learning how to read, but there is no comprehension. So as you can see, the sequence in which we move using the Montessori materials, the child is not only learning how to read, but also there is comprehension of what these words mean and how the child can link them with the objects within the environment. 2.5 months. And then you move on with your pink series, your books, your level 1 books. Now a quick look in the math area. So Montessori, you have materials that help children understand abstract concepts in a hands-on, concrete way. So here the children will start with the sandpaper letters, because let's look at the sequence in which we're going to teach math. That's also going to be universal. We cannot start teaching 10 to 20 if the concept of 1 to 10 is not clear. So the focus initially is going to be on encouraging the children to learn the concept, the basic concept 1 to 10. Now here again in the Montessori tools, we are offering tools. EYFS, if there are no Montessori tools available, teachers are going to come up with teacher-made materials. They'll come up with puzzles available. And then you will prepare your classroom accordingly. So even an EYFS setting can bring in the Montessori materials because we are achieving EYFS goals. So here the child is encouraged to trace. Then you have your spindle box where the children will learn the concept of zero. Then you have your cards and counters where the children are going to learn the concept of odd and even. We are moving from fixed quantities, loose symbols. Also, something with my experience, I've seen that usually when we are introducing numbers, we are only focused on this is number one, this is how number one looks like, and the quantities, the counting of quantities comes much later. Whereas in a Montessori, as per the Montessori method, we will introduce the quantities and the symbols together. So if we are teaching them this is one, this is how you write the number one, you are going to match it with this is one car. If you're introducing five, this is how the number five looks like, and these are five objects. There is a sequence in which these materials are presented. And when children learn up until 10, we move on to the place value. We introduce them with units, tens, hundreds, and thousands. And we have children as young as 3.5-year-old children who are able to work with the golden beads and are able to understand concepts. So there is research that shows that when, I won't only say Montessori, but when concepts are taught in a concrete manner, where they can touch and feel, they are forming mental impression of those concepts. So your literacy and math concepts, when we use, even if you don't have Montessori materials, teachers can come up with resources where the child will manipulate a piece of material, touch it, feel it, and form those concepts. And this will be lifelong learning for the children. Also have a video to show you how children are working on the concept of addition using the Montessori materials. So this child has worked with the teacher has presented this piece of material, and maybe initially the child needed some support, but now the child can work on this independently. So I was talking about concepts, your quantities and symbols. So this is a video to show you how the child is matching the quantity with the symbols. And I am just going to share the record book with you all. So these are your EYFS goals. The child can link the number symbols with the cardinal number value. And for that, the child is going to use the large number rods and the number cards. Then your EYFS goal states that reinforcing counting loose quantity and matching to corresponding number symbols, introducing the concept of zero. This comes in. These goals are achieved using the spindle box. Then we have cards and counters. So as you move on, you're going to see that your EYFS goals are a guideline to us as educators that within this stage or within this age group, these are the goals that the child must achieve. Or I'm not saying must, but we will give or take. Maybe, as we know, every child has their unique developmental, I'd say, rhythm that they follow, which we will respect. But give or take, this is how we're going to prepare our classroom. And these are certain concepts that we are going to introduce to the child. Now, what I'm going to share with you is the knowledge and understanding of the world, or the cultural aspects of what we can bring in from the Montessori pedagogy, and you can bring this into your EYFS setting. Nature table. Every Montessori classroom will have a nature table. How can we prepare a nature table? We can take the children outside for a nature walk. Let them pick up things that they find, and they can bring that in the classroom. So this is also an extension and a variation of what we can offer in the classroom. This is a video just showing you how we have brought in various activities and put them together. Again, Montessori materials, land and water forms. Now, expressive arts and design, creativity is I won't say that this is EYFS or this is Montessori. Creativity is creativity. We cannot teach creativity. We can just offer the tools to the children for them to explore and find their inner creative side and develop their creative side. But what I'd really like to focus also here is the Montessori sensorial area. Now, the sensorial curriculum in Montessori is fascinating because it focuses on helping children learn through their senses. These materials are designed to refine and sharpen children's sensory perceptions and lay a strong foundation for future learning. So you have materials for refining their visual sense. You have for chromatic sense. I have a video to share with you, and then I'm going to share the record book that we have. So this is how teachers during their practice are trained how to present the materials so that they can achieve the objectives that the material has been designed for. I'm going to quickly share these. The record sheet that we have. And it's fascinating when you take a look at how the sensorial curriculum is aligned with the EYFS goals. So one of the EYFS goals talks about manipulation and exploration of different shapes to develop visual sense of dimensions. That is one of the EYFS goals. And then you have Montessori materials which are designed, your knob cylinders, pink tower, broad stairs, long rods, knobless cylinders. These are the objective of these activities is to develop the visual sense of dimensions. Then you have to refine the chromatic sense. Your EYFS goal talks about children must know their colors, their ability to match the colors that can be achieved through the pink box 1, pink box 2, pink box 3. Then one of the EYFS learning goals is the child should be able to explore and manipulate different 3D shapes to form a muscular impression. Now, as an educator, as an EYFS setting, if this is a goal that I need to fulfill or support the child through. I may bring in 3D objects within the environment and offer it to the child, and the child will touch and child will feel and child will learn that, okay, this is what a cylinder looks like, or this shape is a cube or cuboid. But if we bring in the Montessori sensorial materials, then you have set materials for that. You have geometric solids, you have mystery bag that are going to support the child in achieving these learning goals. Similarly, you have the EYFS goal that says to explore and manipulate 2D shapes. Experience kinesthetic and visual sense. For that, again, you have your presentation tray. While they are working on the presentation tray, there will be matching activities, there will be naming activities. You have your geometric cabinet. Now, the geometric cabinet is going to support the child to explore and manipulate more 2D shapes and match them. When we talk about sensorial, the sensorial curriculum is also indirectly supporting the child for mathematical awareness. So your EYFS goal to demonstrate that all plane geometric figures can be constructed from triangles. You have your constructive triangles 1 to 5. You have tessellations. And then we have fractions. Then we will, to prepare the child for formal mathematics, you have your materials which are called binomial, trinomial cube. And these are all the materials that you have. You've got your thermic to explore and manipulate to manipulate tablets with different temperature. Then they have to refine the sense of touch, compare weight and use comparative language. You have the baric tablets. You have to refine the auditory sense and sense of hearing. You have the sound boxes, and so on. So this was, ladies, just to give you an overview of, a brief overview of how your EYFS and Montessori are similar in their approach. They are child-centered. The focus is on the environment. The EYFS is supporting us by providing us with the 7 areas of development. Is further supporting us by providing us with the goals that the children must achieve. And then the Montessori philosophy and pedagogy comes in to amalgamate and to support us as educators to provide a nurturing. Gosh, I made it on time. I still have 2 minutes. So before we move on, ladies, do we have any questions? And I know this is rushed because there's so much. There is so much with EYFS and Montessori, and we just have an hour to finish this. So if you have any questions, if I have not covered anything and you feel you'd like some clarification on, or even if you'd like to share how you blend in the EYFS and Montessori. Yes, Rosina.
Thank you so much for giving this session. Actually, I have 22 years of teaching experience, but it is at the primary level. So now I thought to explore this area also, and when I got this opportunity, so I thought to avail it. There are many things which were new for me because this age group I have never catered. My question is that you said about communication and language, and then you talk about literacy. So how are you going to differentiate language and literacy in early years?
Thank you, Rosina. That's a really very interesting question. And we will be having a workshop coming up soon, which will be Literacy the Montessori Way. And I will share the link with you with all of you, rather, if you all would like to. So, Rosina, when we talk about communication, you are talking about your verbal, non-verbal communication. Okay, so how the teacher talks, responds, verbally, non-verbally, how you listen to the child. So there are a lot of aspects which will come together within your communication and language domain. When we talk about literacy, we focus on reading and writing. So all those elements or aspects that are going to support the child in achieving their reading and writing skills will be focused, but you cannot take away that they are both interconnected in a way. So as an example, I'll just tell you that I was observing one of the teachers in the classroom, and she was a non-native English speaker child, and she was talking about tap. This is, they were building the word tap. And then after that, I just told the teacher that, does he know what tap is? So when we asked him, he did not know what a tap is. So you see, you're talking about literacy. We are teaching him this is how we read and read tap, or this is how we build the word tap. But the language, the understanding, the comprehension that a tap, this is what a tap is, was missing. So they both are hand in hand, vocabulary of the child as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I always tell the teachers that, especially when you have they're not native English speakers, and we are introducing them to word building or to reading, it is very important for us to be aware that are they comprehending what they are reading. Hence, in a Montessori, the literacy curriculum, we start with they are going to build and match it with the objects. So they can touch and feel the objects, and that gives them clarity that what we are building or what this word is all about is somewhere related to me within the environment. Sorry, I'm just going to see if you... Okay, so we have, can we make resources for this age group, like for sorting shapes, fine motor skills, and timely where we change the materials? Yes, absolutely. So when we last year we had our nursery accredited by Montessori Centre International London, and one of the key highlights for them was that they were very excited to see the teacher-made materials. So when we now talk about Montessori pedagogy, or this is a Montessori setting, universally, all the Montessori classrooms will be the same because the materials are universal. So how is my class going to be different to yours, or what special will this offer to the child? Will be your philosophy, how the teacher respects and runs the philosophy in the classroom. And the second will be how your teacher made resources in the classroom within the framework of the Montessori method. So the Montessori method has certain principles. Principles for autodidactic. Your materials must have a control of error. You must move, they should be concrete. You will move from simple to complex. There will be isolation of concept. So if your teacher-made material has all these principles and you've incorporated all these principles, you would say your classroom can be a Montessori classroom without the Montessori materials. The long rods, I'm not sure if some of you know what I'm talking about, but they are these, I just have one here. So this is what a long rod looks like. This rod is used for counting. Quantity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Child sees 8 as a whole. So when we talk about 8, it is a whole. It's not a quantity as a whole. Not that if you show them loose quantities, they may see 8, but they won't see them together. Now, you don't have this in your classroom. Let's make it with the children. What are we going to need? Let's get some cardboard boxes. Let's cut long strips. But the core, I would say, objective has to stay. And what is the objective? Excuse me. So even if you prepare this in the classroom, you have to make sure that you are able to maintain the ratio. Because when the child is going to build from 1 to 2 and all the way to 10, the ratio has to stay constant. So you can make all these materials using, teacher-made materials, get the children to help you. And then they own it because they've built these materials themselves.
I want to say something. Can I?
Yes, please. Yes, please, Shireen.
For the wonderful session. It's really very helpful for us. I have made some materials I want to show to you. Can you please give your suggestions? Can I show?
Yes, please.
So this I have made. These are the pom-poms and the colors. So children will, this will cater the 36 months age group, 3 years. So they will sort and put it in the particular color fingers.
That's lovely, Shireen. So my first question, what is the objective? What do you want to achieve? What goal do you want to achieve? What are the learning goals?
Fine motor skills, for their fine motor skills.
But for the fine motor skills, are they using their fine motor skills or are they just using their fingers to push?
Fingers to push and coloring and sorting also.
So thank you, Shireen. So ladies, when you prepare a teacher-made material, the first question is, what is the objective? What do I want to achieve? If I want to achieve fine motor skills, then I would have a tong, because that is again something where I would see that the child would be holding and using their their pincer grip. I'm sorry, Shireen. Yes, this is beautiful, Shireen.
This is a bottle cap, and they will put the caps according to the colors.
Yes, this is beautiful. And this is where they will use their pincer grip to hold the lids and place them. Hand-eye coordination. There would be flexibility of the wrist. There will be colors. Thank you.
Colors.
This is beautiful.
This all about this all are the shapes, and the children will put popsicles. Maybe they want to do with according to the colors or according to the shape, whatever they want.
Thank you, Shireen. I must say you're so creative.
And these are the shapes, cutouts, some cutouts, and the picture is there. So children will put the shapes on the according to the picture.
Thank you. So that's your control of error. So you see, like whenever we see an activity, you're going to see, is it hands-on concrete? Is there a control of error? What is the objective?
So this is the fruit, different. I have cut it, and then I will put some color sheets. Like if this is the red color, so children will put the apple in it. Or if this orange color, so they will put like this.
Shireen, you've had a busy weekend, I must say, with all the cutting and all the preparations for Monday.
So this is the apple, and I have different colors. If this is the orange, so they will put in the orange color. This is a pear, and the banana in the yellow color. These all are the cutout.
Thank you, Shireen, for sharing. We so appreciate it. Thank you. Ladies, any questions? And I do acknowledge that this is very rushed because there is so much to share, and to just bring all that in just an hour is really tricky and difficult. So excuse me for it. But look out for other sessions that we will have. We will now break them down into really smaller workshops, and we will only focus on each aspect at a time. Shiok, your turn while I drink some water.
So, Sita, thank you. I think that was absolutely brilliant. There is so much to Montessori, and I know each particular topic is actually a whole CPD in itself, or could be 3 or 4 hours. We have many CPDs that are approved by KHDA and TQUK, and we have a level 2 qualification, we have a level 3 qualification in early years practice with Montessori. We have an endorsed Montessori program that's specifically about bringing Montessori to already trained early years teachers who have not trained in the Montessori area, a Montessori philosophy. And that's a smaller course, it's a shorter course, it's less expensive than the level 3 and indeed the level 5 advanced EYP course that we're about to be accredited for, which is over 1 year. But the Montessori endorsed course, Sita, is how long? 4 months?
Yes, it would be around 6 months.
6 months.
It's 210 hours with 45 hours of practical training with the materials.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll have these monthly workshops, free workshops. We'll do 1 hour each month just so that we can share a little bit of our passion with you. And then we'll have the other CPDs going on regularly too, which we'll try to make at a really, really reasonable cost so that we can just spread that philosophy around the UAE, outside UAE, Bahrain, Qatar. We've connections in Saudi, in China, and in Ireland and in England at the moment. So we're growing there, but we'd really like to solidify this information in Dubai. Early years has grown phenomenally. It's become so much more professional in Dubai in the last 10 years. I'd say especially the last 10 years. I'm in it for 30 and I just see the difference is huge. And KHDA they're even becoming aware of Montessori. They're definitely more aware of early years and the kind of professionalism that's required, which is why they've brought in this new requirement for teachers to have the advanced level 5 practitioner course, EYP course. What else can I say? How else we'd like to support you? We're going to have a WhatsApp group where we were thinking to have, rather than Facebook or something, because it all gets very involved, just to keep it to a WhatsApp activity group where there's no judgment, just ideas, suggestions, maybe a weekly activity that we can explore in a Montessori way. So teachers, you can give us your activities. You can give us put them in on the group, share them on the group, tell us your ideas, and then we can have a discussion. Yes, this is the objective that we're looking for in this, but actually, if you did it like this, might be even better. Or you can say that to us, actually, I do it like this. Had you thought of that? Which can be very inspiring. And just, sometimes we work very hard as EYPs and Montessorians, and it's just really nice to have a community together that helps us feel stronger. Sita.
Thank you, Shiog. With that, ladies, we come to an end for today's workshop. Thank you so much for your time, and we appreciate you being here. And as Shiog mentioned, we look forward to you all being a part of our community, and we will together share our knowledge. And we've all got each other's back, I'd say.
Yes, we will keep your contact details for future courses that we do. But please do stay in touch with us and message us any questions, email us anything you'd like us to discuss.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Have a lovely
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
much.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.